Hi, I'm Shonen14, and today I wanted to make a video about my card collection, or at least talk about my card collection in a way that none of us would say about the most valuable cards or the best strategies. I just wanted to show my cards that I've collected over the years and tell you a bit about my story. So before I begin, I do wish to express that the conditions of these cards aren't going to be in the best shape. But for the most part, these cards, I put them in elastic bands. Yeah, believe it or not, you'll be about to see one in a minute. So the very first one I want to show off is really what got me into card games at all, even for a brief period of time. And it was all thanks to this collection, the Duelist Pack collection, incredibly inspired by the anime Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which incidentally, was an anime I loved to watch every morning before I went to school. And I loved this anime, I thought it was awesome, it was cool, and I really liked the new cards, the elemental heroes, and some of the darker tones in the anime. Apparently the Japanese one was much darker, but I digress. So this was how I started off. And in all honesty, it wasn't bad. It actually had some really good cards. It had like the majority of the elemental heroes. And I remember seeing a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament that was going to be in my, at the time, Woolworths in the UK. And I asked my grandmother, oh please, can I really join this? And I do need a deck. And at the time, I didn't really have money. I was going for pocket money, but my grandmother was so kind to me that she actually walked around in Woolworths on the day, I believe, to actually get me started. So I had no preparation. I just opened a pack, looked at the cards, and tried to play. And I'm gonna be honest, I did absolutely horrible. I maybe played a game or so, and let's just say I cheated without even realizing. Basically, I was trying to pretend like I was in an anime and like activating my cards all coolly, and I remember the guy in front of me, he just sat there holding his cards with his lips pressed together. He didn't really want to be rude or anything, and I think he knew I was young and was basically stupid. Alright, let's have a look. So as you can see, this is the dreaded elastic band. This is how we mostly kept our cards together or put them in our pocket. We never really, as I said before, kept them all nice and safe. So there goes the elastic band. And yeah, these cards have been in here for ever since. Ah, here they are. Here they are. So these ones are the limited edition ones that I got from Shonen Jump magazines, because my uncle noticed I liked anime and manga, because he got me Naruto. And so he saw actual Shonen Jump magazines, and some of them actually had Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the very back, and a lot of kids in the area actually were stealing them from the back of the magazines, put them somewhere different so the kids wouldn't steal them. And so of course you have, you might not be able to see them, Dalgian, whatever, and the Dark Dragon Lord, Magician of the Black Chaos. I don't know if this was in Shonen Jump. I think it was, even though it doesn't say limited edition. Cyber Dinosaur, the Wicked Avatar. I think this was one of my very first Shonen Jump Yu-Gi-Oh cards. These cards, some of these cards would like power all the Wicked Dreadroot. Yeah, that's why I loved collecting the Shonen Jump cards, because I don't know if they were banned or something, but apparently they weren't really playable. And I think some of them, these cards, you could get from the Yu-Gi-Oh video games, like the DS ones. That was like Yu-Gi-Oh Championship 2008 and whatnot. With my Yu-Gi-Oh story, for me the game was always just too complicated. There were so many mechanics for me to remember, so much cards to remember, I couldn't do it. I generally tried to get back into it, which is why I'm going to show you the rest of the cards. And so here it is. This is one of my last attempts of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Was trying to use this Mega Pack, the Legendary Collection for Joey's World. Now why I picked Joey, God only knows why. And I really got this because I wanted to try and be a bit more social and get into these groups again and be out more. And this was definitely the very wrong thing for me to do. This was more of an, as it says, a collection, not exactly a playable deck, especially with these cards. While I do think it is overcomplicated, really overcomplicated, especially for new players, or even dumbasses like myself. So the guy I was playing, he was way more experienced, way better player than I ever was. He actually had a cohesive and synergized deck. And I was just there still trying to remember the cards that I put together and such, and I was just waiting, and he just demolished me. He wasn't even trying, and I just couldn't. I just sat there in disbelief. I'm like, oh my god, this guy is doing so much in like one turn. Now, of course, could have I done better if I made a cohesive and synergized deck that wasn't this? Probably could have. I just realized this game is just probably not for me. And so for many years I really stopped playing card games for a long time. I just had other things to do. I was more interested in gaming and reading manga and comic books. Until one day I was walking down the street going past my comic store and I noticed something in the window, and I'm going to show you the card that's going to appear on screen right now. This is, of course, the Booster Pack Core Set 2012 for the 2-player game, and here it is. Right here, this is the very first deck that he helped build for me, and he even gave me this Ultra Pro box at the time. And just so you know, the cards are not in the great condition. And so, let's have a look at it together. And he really just helped me out. And I remember we actually did try to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Beforehand. Had a deck that he had, and he gave me one of his. They were a lot more simpler than we thought. I remember we were playing in his room, and we actually brought his big wooden table and made it like we were far apart. It was like here. Imagine this was the table. He was here and I was here. We were playing our cards, trying to act like in the anime. And we were playing it and we just thought, this isn't as fun as I thought it would be. And even he agreed. When it came to Magic, for me, it was just the complete opposite. I was worried that this game was going to be so complicated, but it was way simpler than I imagined. I was really having fun, and I remember actually winning some games. Of course, let's have a quick look into my Magic the Gathering 2014 build. And wow, yeah. Oh yeah. This is what we're talking about. And of course, these are elastic bands, so I could keep track of what was what. This will always be a very precious thing that my friend bought for me, because this costed like £100 something at the time, and this I believe was the last, or the 2015 was the last time they did a yearly core set, and this will always just be a treasure because it just shown how much we loved Magic the Gathering, even though we might not have. I was not the best player. My friend was a much better player than me, but it was like really brought us together. And looking at cool art, reading the text, and having fun playing the game together, this will always remain a special place in my heart. So right here is where I dropped off Magic the Gathering, because I think I was starting to work a bit more and I couldn't really play as much, and my friend wasn't able to play as much, and we just got busier, and I think I lost interest in the game because I felt the mechanics and all the other cards, while they were really cool and I loved the idea of Origins, it was just getting a little bit too much for me to understand. And this is evident because as you can see here, my land collection, which has equal amount of colours and designs is remained unopened. And as you can see here, these packs I have, that's 1, 3, 6. I am not going to say the other number because fuck you guys. These packs are unopened. This was just, I bought it, looked at some of them, and that was it. Put the thing in the box and they just stayed like that for ages. So I don't know how much these are probably worth, but unopened Magic packs from many years ago, it's probably worth something. I do hope to get back into Magic because I did buy some like starter decks. As you can see here, this was one of the starter decks. I forgot, I think this was the Infinite something. I didn't really play it that much, but again, I remember buying my very first one a long time, and that was the Final Fantasy Commander deck, which this came with. And of course, I cannot say no to Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, in my opinion, was just a perfect idea for Magic the Gathering, and I thought these cards are cool. And I do have a very rare card, if I can find it. And here it is. This was from one of the random packs that I bought, and it is right here. Vivorinitia. Oh yeah, like, this card was either banned in so many places, but this is for me generally one of the most valuable cards that I have. I want to move on more quickly, so I'm going to just show you other things. Like, here is a Dominaria, which has been opened, but I do have an unopened Shadow of Innistrad. Shadows over Innistrad. Like I said, unopened, so yeah, might be worth something. Or sometime early this year, I made my very first secret layer purchase, and it is, of course, the Sonic non-foil card collection. And I am a great Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I wouldn't say I'm the most knowledgeable one of that, but I love the comic books and I love the artwork, and so here they are. Fortunately, I got the Master Emerald. I wish I got the other coloured emeralds, but yep, here they all are. That is my Magic the Gathering collection. And so quickly moving on to other things. Just want to point out that I don't really play Pokemon. I did try with the Astral Radiance, and I remember buying some Pokemon cards. I even have a Vulpix, a very rare Vulpix card somewhere. One of the last things I want to show is, of course, the World of Warcraft trading card game. This is the class starter deck. I remember seeing this in my comic store. Loved World of Warcraft, and so I wanted to buy this, and I thought because it looked cool, you can potentially get card packs of very rare ones, which you could use in the game as a redeem code, like a Spectral Tiger, or like really cool trading card only items like tabards and whatnot. These were like on eBay, and of course I don't have anything very special here, but the World of Warcraft card game, when I first started to buy this, I think it died off in about a year, because this is before Hearthstone came out and they cancelled the trading card game, which is a real shame. And so there you have it. That is the majority of my trading card games that I've been storing away for all these years. Of course, there are some other ones. I do have like Riftbound just over there. I do have some card games that are just like over there, but otherwise it's nothing that much. They're like more of the newer ones, like the Marvel superheroes, or I found a Assassin's Creed one that I completely forgot I had. I hope you enjoyed this video and found some interest in the cards I collected, despite the bad camera quality and the way I was talking not making much sense. Hopefully in the next video I'm going to try talking about my Sonic collection, the Archie ones, because I've started to read them again. So see you soon.